We are not even halfway through June, and we have been witnessing some very big updates around XRP and the XRPL. And a lot of it has to do with adoption and big building initiatives happening on the XRP ledger. For an example, recently we did see a big update from Ripple XDev. It was Ripple and Web3 Salon, supported by Jetro, are launching a new partnership for Japan-based Web3 startups. Open to early stage teams building on the XRP ledger with a focus on DeFi tokenization and payments. Learn how this program will fuel the next wave of digital asset innovation in Japan. Now, of course, this is not brand new. This is from the 9th, but I do want to kind of go over this, right? We have unlocking innovation in Japan. Ripple partners with Web3 Salon to support the next wave of digital asset startups. Within this, right, there's a big focus on a few things. Obviously, Japan and Asia have always been a huge area for Ripple. Forever, Ripple and XRP have been big in the APAC region. But we have in a powerful step towards accelerating blockchain innovation in Asia. Ripple has partnered with the Web3 Salon project supported by Jetro, Japan External Trade Organization, and powered by the Asia Web3 Alliance Japan, a prominent Web3 startup ecosystem and strategic enabler in the region. This new collaboration reflects a shared commitment to nurturing Japan's digital asset ecosystem, an environment known for its deep technical talent, strong regulatory frameworks, and increasing appetite for innovation in financial services and tokenized assets. Supporting builders and a high potential market. As part of the partnership, Ripple will offer grant funding of up to $200,000 per project over the next year. This initiative is part of the XRP Ledger Japan and Korea Fund and Ripple's broader 1 billion XRP commitment to provide financial, technical, and business support for developers and startups building on the XRP Ledger. The funding will be awarded to a select group of early-stage startups based in Japan that are building on the XRP ledger, particularly in use cases like DeFi and RWA tokenization, and of course, digital payments. Grant recipients will be selected based on their growth potential, technological sophistication, and alignment with Ripple's investment priorities. Ripple will manage the grant process directly to ensure strategic impact and support. In addition to funding, startups will gain access to Ripple's extensive network of global partners, experts, and customers. So this is very exciting. And of course, when we think about what's going to happen here, the whole focus is a year of momentum, 4 events through March of 2026. We actually look at this, right? We have to amplify visibility and drive momentum. Ripple and Web3 Salon will co-host 4 major community events between now and March of 2026. These gatherings will spotlight standout startups, explore policy trends, and bring together founders, regulators, and enterprise leaders. The agenda includes startup pitch competitions highlighting Japan's top blockchain talent, industry panels and fireside chats with domestic and international thought leaders, investor networking sessions and ecosystem showcases, educational workshops on topics like tokenization compliance and cross-border growth. Each event is designed to accelerate growth, not just for individual startups, but for the entire ecosystem. And then, of course, we have Japan's digital moment. So Japan has long been recognized as a global leader in regulatory clarity and consumer protection, but its highly structured environment can also present hurdles for emerging startups and frontier technologies. By working together, Ripple and Web3 Salon aim to lower the barrier to entry and help startups navigate Japan's complex but promising Web3 landscape. Japan is one of the most exciting and challenging markets for Web3 and blockchain adoption. Through this partnership with Ripple, we aim to support visionary founders and strengthen the bridge between global innovation and Japan's tech landscape. So yeah, I think that this is going to be great. I think that this is going to immediately unlock so much potential of the XRP ledger as well. And we're going to see a very, very significant amount of growth of the ecosystem as well in, of course, Japan. So love to see this. On top of that, right, we just witnessed XRP Ledger Apex 2025. It was massive. Let's just say that, right? Huge event for XRP and the XRPL in the community. Now, when we look into this, right off the rip, we do have a big spotlight on the growth. Over 13 years, the XRP Ledger has matured into one of the most robust Layer 1 blockchains. 100% decentralized blockchain with 800 plus nodes processing transactions and maintaining the ledger, 180 plus proof of association validators operated by universities, exchanges, businesses, and individuals, $116 million realized RWA market cap, making XRPL a top 10 chain for financial asset tokenization, 3.3 billion plus transactions processed, 6 million plus active XRP wallet holders around the world, and 130 billion plus market capitalization of XRP, making it a top 3 cryptocurrency. Now, on top of that, let's go over here. Apex 2025 digital commercial paper DCP is now live on the XRP ledger, administered by the Guggenheim Treasury Services, one of the world's largest independent commercial paper platform managers in the world, empowered by the economy. With 280 million plus in issuance, DCP is the first native digital commercial paper on the XRP ledger, bringing a fixed income asset secured by US Treasuries and rated Prime 1 by Moody's. Guys, this is huge for the XRP ledger. Like I said, Apex 2025 was massive, and this goes to show you how big it was. So we have over here the update on it. So with over 280 million of volume to date, this economy powered DCP marks the first native issuance of digital commercial paper on the XRP ledger, broadening institutional access. So this is going to be a game changer. And of course, when we actually look at this, we have DCP is tokenized, issued, and managed through this economy platform. On the XRP ledger, DCP will leverage the network's faster settlement, lower transaction costs, and 24/7 accessibility, modernizing how commercial paper is issued, transacted, and integrated into global treasury and liquidity systems. This expansion to the XRP ledger builds on DCP's initial launch in September of 2024, which has already processed over 280 million in issuance. DCP is fully backed by maturity-matched US Treasury securities and is offered daily at custom maturities of up to 397 days. The asset has received a Prime 1 rating by Moody's, the highest rating available for a short-term debt instrument. DCP is issued through a bankruptcy remote SPV, Great Bridge Capital Company, established by Guggenheim Treasury Services to ensure investor protections, and is tokenized and managed through Zeconomy's platform, which provides robust infrastructure integration services and comprehensive digital asset governance. On the XRP ledger, DCP can provide institutional clients with a highly efficient treasury management solution that can be integrated into existing cross-border payment flows. This addresses critical pain points in international trade, where traditional settlement processes can take days and involve significant operational overhead. Leveraging DCP in conjunction with real-time payment systems allows corporations to lower costs, accelerate settlement, and offer greater transparency across their network of suppliers. We're at the tipping point where tokenization is evolving from experimentation to production in global financial markets. This is coming from Marcus Inventure, the Senior Vice President of RippleX. Institutions are no longer asking if blockchain technology can support regulated financial products. They're asking how can they deploy them at scale. This is great. The inception of DCP is a prime example of this shift, and it expands the offering of institutional financial assets coming to the XRP ledger. The XRP ledger is the backbone built to support regulated financial assets that require the efficiency, scalability, and compliance features global markets need. And of course, the market for tokenized real-world assets is projected to grow from 600 million in 2025 to 19 trillion by 2033, according to a new Ripple and BCG tokenization report. Bonds are expected to be the leading asset in this shift as financial institutions turn to blockchain or public blockchain technology, like the XRP ledger, to modernize operations, reduce costs, and expand access to financial markets. DCP is moving this vision beyond proof of concept, demonstrating how regulated financial products can be efficiently issued and transacted on-chain. In particular, the DCP offers an ideal solution to digital traders looking for a yield-bearing on-chain asset to use as collateral in their strategies. Zeconomy's platform delivers institutional-grade modulars and a powerful toolkit that brings corporations and traditional finance participants together to solve real-world problems on-chain. The expansion of DCP to the XRP ledger is a key marker for the future of tokenized finance, combining institutional strength with the enterprise focus of Ripple. This exact use case is how regulated asset-backed instruments like DCP can thrive on public blockchains at scale. Ripple will invest in DCP as well as part of the broader effort to bring institutional real-world assets to the XRP ledger. This builds on Ripple's investment in tokenized US Treasuries through projects such as Ondo's OUSG and Archix and Aberdeen's Money Market Fund. The XRP ledger provides this level of reliability with a comprehensive set of features needed to support institutional assets like DCP. It offers fast, secure, low-cost settlement to help meet institutional requirements. Over the past decade, the XRP ledger has processed over 3.3 billion transactions without failure or security breach since 2012. while supporting over 6 million active wallets and a network of over 200 validators. So this is incredible to see. And of course, when we think about what's really going on around the XRP ledger, this really is just the start of a much bigger push. I mean, even, Ondo recently put a spotlight, saying that we're bringing tokenized real world assets to the XRP ledger. Ondo's finance flagship short-term US Treasuries fund, OUSG, is now live on the XRP ledger with seamless minting and redemptions via Ripple stablecoin RLUSD. OUSG gives institutional investors on the XRP ledger access to tokenized short-term US Treasuries, fully backed, yield generating, and compliant. Now with on-demand access via RLUSD. We've talked about it, right? Anything that's good for the stablecoin is good for XRP. This is a first for the XRP ledger, seamless settlement between OUSG and RLUSD, on-chain US Treasuries exposure for institutions, RLUSD, utility beyond payments. Ondo Finance continues to lead the way in RWA tokenization with over 1.3 billion in TVL. OUSG was the first tokenized security to gain material adoption, and with over $690 million in TVL, remains one of the largest tokenized treasury products in the market. OUSG's portfolio is invested in funds such as BlackRock's USD Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund, as well as funds from Franklin Templeton, Wisdom Tree, and even FundBridge. By bringing OUSG to the XRP ledger, Ondo Finance is bringing institutional grade assets directly to the institutions, providing access to high quality tokenized assets as flexible treasury management tools. And by the way, I don't think that I need to tell you guys that Ondo Finance is an absolute giant. They're stacked. One of the biggest players around this market for tokenization. Even when we go over to rwa.xyz, right now we're just starting to see OUSG moving onto the XRP ledger. There's only about 1.5k, not much at all, but it is just the starting point, right? But I do think that today, I mean, everyone could take a screenshot of this. We're at almost $117 million on the XRP ledger around total RWA value. This doesn't even account for a lot of those big moves that have happened so far in 2025 around tokenization initiatives. It doesn't even take into accountability, this $280 million that could potentially immediately be tapped in on the XRP ledger, because again, this is huge. We don't know how much money is going to move onto the XRP ledger through this, but this is a huge tokenization move, on top of course, OUSG. I mean, there's so many big things that have happened over the last 2 weeks as well. Like if we go back to, for an example, the Dubai real estate tokenization initiative. I mean, these are not even on the XRP ledger right now. It's so crazy because if we actually look at the networks around tokenization, to immediately get into the number 2 spot, because ZK Sync Era is actually a layer 2, to get into the number 2 spot, we just have to flip Stellar, and that's at $466 million roughly. I'm going to round up. If we see 280 million and then we see, another 100 million, and I'm just talking about like a few tokenization initiatives that have happened already on the XRP ledger in the last couple months that have yet to actually hit the ledger. I mean, you got to think about it like this. It's so easy to move up the ranks from where, XRP is currently on this list. So, all it really does take is just one big tokenization move to really make so much noise and put a spotlight on the XRPL. And today we're starting to see that shift happen. I think that when we really look at some of these breakdowns and we read some of these documents, from these big pushes, it's very clear to listen to individuals that are around these markets every single day. Marcus Inventure has always been a voice, from my point of view, to really kind of listen to, because we are at the tipping point, for tokenization. It's no longer about, let's experiment a little bit with tokenization and see if this is big. No, they already know it's big. Why? Because there's already almost $13 billion on chain. And the total market right now around tokenization is almost $24 billion. So they already went through the POCs. They already did the experimentation process. They see how big of a game changer this is. And it's only a matter of time until we start to see, the next 10 billion flood on chain, and followed by the next 100 billion, and then, 1 trillion, and so forth. This is a snowball effect, and it's already in place. And I'm very excited about this. There's going to be a lot more updates coming from XRPL Apex that I will obviously spotlight on the channel as well going forward. But with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on, because I'm a free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.